Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3M podcast where we make it, we market it, and we manifest it, y'all. Listen, I want to apologize for the first episode. I'm having some issues with my video switcher where it's kind of giving me some feedback for the audio. So I'm going to figure that out. We're going to figure it out. Don't know how, but we're going to make it happen. Well, I figured it out, but I want to make sure that don't have to automatically switch everything by myself. But anyway, we'll get to that problem when we get there. So the audio is going to be crispy as fuck this time. I'm going through my Zoom. Everything is gracious and beautiful with that. So y'all going to get this crispy audio. Y'all going to get these crispy details today. It's about to be on. So once again, I just want to say welcome to the 3M podcast, where we don't just talk about business. Like I said, we don't want to just talk to people about business, but we want to talk about business from multiple aspects, from the aspect of actually getting yourself together to make the product or make whatever it is that you want to do and kind of like start that creation process and then start to market it, but also teaching about manifesting, because we want you to teach you to be everything already before you even have it, before you even become all those things. We'll get deeper into that. It is June, y'all. It is Men's Mental Health Month. And I really want to sit back and I want to talk to you all about how important mental health is when it comes to being a business owner. Now, yes, this is going to be dedicated to men this month, but women, if you are here, listen to it as well. I got some really dope knowledge that I want to share with you all. So yeah, I'm going to start off by telling my story when it comes to mental health. So I actually have a background in mental health. Yeah. Counseling, all that good stuff, and I ended up going into my business because, like I said, I just wanted to be free. I've always been a creative. Sometimes we do things like go to school, get degrees, and do all those things for the fact that we want to, make our parents happy. We want that security and all those things. And when you really start to realize sometimes there's no security in the things that we thought would bring security. And this is a bar. I'm still talking to myself as I'm, talking to you all as well. So definitely getting some really great things right here. But to say that, dealing with ADHD, and trying to run a business sometimes can be hell because you're all over the place. Now, mind you, you can get a lot of shit done having ADHD. Somebody was saying that it's called a new term I'm learning, which is chaotic discipline. And if you guys see me kind of looking off, I'm kind of make sure I'm on screen, I'm in focus and stuff like that. But it's called chaotic discipline. And what that means is, like, some people have the discipline to get things done every day. But a lot of times with people who deal with neurodivergency, they tend to basically get things done in one day or maybe even two. Like, it's just, we have a high and we go for it. I mean, we get a month and a half worth of shit done in 2 hours. So yeah. But we'll get deeper into that. Like I said, just want to definitely give a shout out. So today I'm wearing my Tuskegee sweater. I don't remember if I wore it on the first one. Like I said, we'll catch up, but definitely got my Tally and Twine, the Tuskegee Airman one. Man, look, we fly today. We fly today. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I got my notes. Yeah, I know I got my notes down here. The first thing I want to talk about is hustling backwards. Now, I am a victim of this because a lot of the things that I've learned in business, I learned without a mentor. So I've learned from YouTube University. I've learned from reading books. I've learned from, watching Instagram and just kind of learning bits and pieces of a lot of things. Now, that can be great. It really can, because you can pick up so many nuggets. But I think one of the biggest issues is with hustling backwards. And I really want to kind of get deeper into understanding what hustling backwards is if you don't have a clear plan sometimes. Now, mind you, if, I always believe in just starting. Hey, just start, and sometimes you have to figure it out. But sometimes I really want you guys to invest in a mentorship, invest in a really good book about business, invest in talking to the people that may be in your field and that you're interested in, invest by say, hey, listen, I would love to sit down with you and just kind of really figure out What is your day-to-day process, or what are the key things that you feel that are super important that are going to get you to the next level in your business? See, these things are very, very important, because if you're just out here doing things without a set course of action, sometimes you'll end up just doing everything and it'll fuck you over. And I'm talking about personal experience. I'm talking about me personally. And what I mean by that, let's look at it this way. When I was trying to not niche down. Now, mind you, branding is my niche. Even though I love doing photography and I do different types of photography, whether it be, portrait, whether it be seniors, I still do all those things. But my bread and butter, like where I make most of my money, is going to always be branding, but I refuse to niche down to just, salons and beauticians or lawyers and, no, like I said, what I do is I learn so much about that field, and also just really about that person and their story. See, branding for me is telling that person's individual story. Why did you start this law firm? Why did you start this spa? Why did you start this? And when you really dive into that, now I can really brand you the way that you want to be branded, because it's going to be very unique and interesting to you. But the thing is, I was trying to do too many things at once, and I wasn't really understanding how I have to service those branding clients different from my senior head clients and different from this client here and there. So understanding that having a clear path keeps you from hustling backwards, because a lot of times you'll be doing so many things and you're stressing yourself out because you're not seeing what's working. It's because you're working against yourself. So having that clear path is so super critical and so crucial, and, we also have to really sit back, and we really have to dive into the thought process and really understanding, how do I go about saying this without sounding like an asshole? Today's entrepreneurs that you see on like Instagram, on YouTube, they're really teaching you to hustle backwards by teaching you to burn yourself out. And what do I mean by that? Like, I'll use an example. Like, one of my favorite entrepreneurs is Gary Vee. Gary Vee is always so hype and so intentional and so personal. Like, when he speaks with so much authority and so much conviction. And what he's telling you is really great. But the problem is that a lot of people like that kind of listen to his videos and they don't really get the core of the message. They think, oh man, just keep hustling, which is true. But you also have to balance it out. Like I love to hear those motivational stories. Man, I missed so many nights of sleep. But that's not really healthy for you. That's really going to fuck up your mental in the long run, because I'm going to be honest, like not getting sleep and just going to the extreme with everything that you do is going to burn you out. Now, I'm not saying don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start your day and get your workout in and, really be intentional about your day. When you think about the Kobe Bryants and the LeBron James, how they're the first ones up, the first ones to the court. I never said don't do that. I never said don't be passionate. What I said was don't burn yourself out, because you still have children. You still have, if you don't have kids, but you still have your life with your parents and your friends, and you have a lot going on. And a lot of times, if everybody's not involved in that journey, you have to learn how to balance those things. See, it's easy I'm not saying that LeBron isn't great, but it's easy for LeBron and Kobe to do those things because they have a cook. They have a driver. They have a lot of other things in place so that they can have the free time to do so. If you don't have to worry about cooking or cleaning up your home, then of course I can go that 2 hours I would have spent cleaning up, or that hour I would have spent cleaning up, that's an extra hour towards my business. If I don't have to cook, that's an extra 30, 45 minutes to an hour and less thinking that I have to do because I already have a chef. You know what I mean? So don't get it twisted. I'm all for being passionate and getting up early and spending those late nights, but you also have to balance it out with being a person that understands that it is super critical and super important that you take care of yourself first. Like, mind you, Kobe used to fly from Huntington Beach out there to LA just to get there on time. So he had a different mode of transportation. He didn't have to spend an hour in practice. It was a 10-15 minute flight to where he had to go. I mean, think about those things, so to say like, man, those late hours, those late nights. Yeah. But if you have a system in place that takes care of you in the long run, that's better for your mental health. So what I challenge people to do is to make sure that you're not hustling backwards and by listening to what everybody else is doing, because sometimes you have to understand that those people have a system set up and in play for them to be able to do those things for longer hours and more efficiently, the way to say that. So just think about those things, you know what I mean? And these are people who I look up to, the LeBrons, the Kobes, the Michael Jordans, more LeBron and Kobe than Michael. But, when it really boils down to it, a lot of times I admire the fact that they had a really great system set up so that they could grind harder and be that great level of person that they are, And so I see a lot of like influencers on IG. I see a lot of, business people that are just like on YouTube and social media, and they're telling you, man, you're gonna have to do this, you're gonna go nights without sleep. That's bullshit. If you're going nights without sleep because you're excited and you're loving what you're doing, that's completely different. See, to tell somebody that you have to go nights without sleep, nah. Listen, if you're spending the right amount of time and the right amount of schedule time, you can get so much done within that time. And sometimes understanding where you're not strong, you have to outsource it. And by outsourcing those things, it gives you the mental clarity to do the things that really matter and to help you focus on what your goals are. So definitely another thing to help you keep you from hustling backwards is building a system of things and people around you to help you succeed in your day-to-day life. And understand that if you're not in that financial position to hire people and outsource people, well, then you have to plan your day accordingly. And you have to get as much done within that 3 to 4 hour period, more than what most people would have to do. You give me 3 to 4 hours. Hell, you give me an hour. I can knock out a lot of shit. Now, some technical stuff, it may take me a little bit longer. Maybe I didn't have the money to outsource a web builder this time. Well, it doesn't even matter. The reality is that at the end of the day, you have to set up a system that's going to help you. So I'm not going to spend too much more time. Like I said, from a personal standpoint, like even with this podcast, the old school way that I was doing it was just recording directly into the camera and also having the audio separate like I have now, and then I would have to go in, I would have to edit it, and I would have to do all this. I'm not doing all that now. So even though I have the audio separate, it takes nothing to sync it up. That's easy, and it's going to sound a lot better this time. Told y'all, I got you. But for my mental clarity, all I do now is, okay, cool. Let me sync the audio up with the video. Boom. Once I do that, export it. Once I export it, I take that straight to my editor. Boom. Edit it, break it up into clips, post it to my social media. Now I'm not spending hours trying to figure out how to get people's attention and how to cut these clips up and taking all that time. No, I'm paying for that system, but it's worth it. Why? Because even though I may pay $30 to $40 a month for that system just to do so, guess what I can do with those 4 to 5 hours a week? So much. I can go cut my grass, which I love to do anyway, because especially when it's hot in Michigan, because we don't get that much hot weather up here. So I'll be outside, shirt off, man boobs hanging, all that good stuff. So understanding that those 4 to 5 hours I get back per week, I put those into things like cleaning up my house, and it's good for my mental. It's good for me to be in a space that's not chaotic and shit everywhere, because that's super important as well. So just think about that, build those systems, So we want to make sure that we're just not hustling backwards. Let me go back to my notes real quick. Sidebar. What was I listening to? I was on IG the other day and it was funny. So they were like, Anita Baker, if you slow it down, she sounds like Michael McDonald. And I hate the fact that it's so true. Because I was listening to the song, The Story Ends Like Stories Do. And if you kind of slow it down, it kind of goes into it sounds just like Michael McDonald. That's a horrible Michael McDonald impression. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. You don't know my life. All right. Mental health equals creative wealth. I want to talk to y'all about that. Let me go on. I'm gonna read this directly from the paper this time because I love the way I wrote certain things down. Like, I I want to talk to you about, like I said, how your mindset influences your output in all three M's. Like I said, the make it, market, and manifest it. So like in the make it, like mental fog will kill your innovation, and the market it, anxiety shows up in how you present your message. So like even when I'm doing this and I'm trying to present, like I go back, I watch my first podcast. I was like, you know what, just make it, put it out there. Whew, it was good. I had a lot of really great points, man, but I was in there chilling. I was like, yeah, man, there was no influctuation in my voice. There wasn't no passion. And I'm a very passionate person. Like, I love it when I talk about certain things. And then to manifest it, like, if you're not mentally grounded, you can't show up spiritually aligned. And we're going to get into all three of those. So we want to talk about the importance of like therapy, journaling, meditation. We about to get into all this. So let me go back to mental fog kills innovation. This is so true. When you're worried about a lot of things that you have going on, it is so hard to be innovative. It's so hard to be creative. And I get it. We're humans. Like, we have bills and we have things that we're going to be worried about, because like I said, but in all reality, when we talk about mental health and like, we have to talk about everything from even what you eat and what you put in your mouth. Like I'm a bigger guy, and I've been getting back into being a healthier person. Why? Because I used to love to run. I mean, I tore my knees up, played football and all the sports in college and stuff like that. But, it happens when the exercise helps to kill a lot of that mental fog, but also what you eat. It's a lot of processed foods out here, man. Get some fruit in your system. Make sure you're drinking water, not just, oh, I hate water, I hate how it tastes. You can't hate water and you can't hate how it tastes. I'm sorry. That's a mental thing that you have to deal with, and we'll talk about that when you go to therapy. But I mean, these are things that are healthy for you. Make sure that you're making those healthy choices, because like I said, what you eat affects how you think. Exercising affects how you think. Stress affects how you think. And I want you guys to understand that you have to manage those things in order to show up for your business. You don't want to be like, Even last time, I'm being very conscious now of making sure I'm not saying, you might catch one or two, but being very mentally conscious of certain things, because it didn't sound good the last time that I was talking to you all. It didn't sound good at all. So I make sure at this point that I take those pauses. Hold on. Or I tell my story in between while I'm trying to get to the point that I was thinking. Because, the reality is I'm human. Sometimes I'll be so excited. I'm like, oh, shit. What was my point? You know what I mean? And so getting back to that now is just really getting to that understanding that, what I eat, me exercising, me meditating helps to keep my mind sharp. And that's so important in today's time and age. You want to make sure that your mind is as sharp as it can be at all times. This is so important because, like I said, in order to be innovative, in order to be creative and show up in that space and have fun, you want to mentally be there. So you definitely gotta take care of that mental. You gotta take care of it. Let's go back to the marketing. Anxiety shows up in how you present your message. When we talk about making things or just starting, I think one of the toughest things that people don't understand is when you're just starting out, you're going to make mistakes, and so a lot of people tend to get anxious about making mistakes or looking bad. I'm not going to lie. I didn't post a lot of clips from the first podcast because the audio was bad, and it wasn't necessarily for other people. It was for me. Like, I want my brand to show up a certain type of way, like everything from my background looking good, my signs, and, just the way that I present myself on camera, having pristine audio. This is a part of my brand. But, in my first podcast, I wanted to show you all that I'm about this life, about making it and making stuff happen. So in order for that anxiety to not show up, I had to mentally prepare myself and mentally find solutions to problems, because this is what we are as entrepreneurs. This is what we are as business owners. We are solution oriented people. Because I was like, man, what if this shows up when I have my first guest on? And then that anxiety is just like, no. I'm going to be 100% present for what I'm doing because I love what I'm doing. I'm here. We finna knock this shit out today. Hell yeah. I had to get hype because the certain type of message that I want to display to you all is super, super important to me. Y'all not finna get no half-ass energy from me. So in order for me to do that, I had to solve the problem. And now that the problem is solved, I can show up. And I also understand that my branding is important to me. So I was very meticulous about everything, from the lighting, from the, coming in, spraying stuff, make sure like I feel comfortable. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good zone. So how I present myself to you is super, super important. And I'm very handsy. Y'all can see that. I used to break dance back in the yeah, that was smooth. I saw that on the camera. Hold on, let me get it one. But how I present myself is super important. And so that anxiety doesn't show up. I make sure that everything I do is with quality. I use quality equipment. I use quality, visuals. And those things are super, super, super important to me. So by me doing that, it helps to relieve my anxiety. So even if you're just starting out, it's okay. Don't be afraid of the mistakes, but also be willing to invest in yourself. Be willing to make things happen for yourself. Be willing to say, hey, okay, listen, I may not go out and eat for the next couple of days so I can get this piece of equipment because it's going to me, help enhance. The biggest thing about making it is just starting, and like putting in the energy to make things happen, and then staying consistent with it. But as you become more consistent with it, guess what else you got to do? You got to keep investing in it. Now, we're not talking about just pulling out your phone. That's cool. Like I said, but when you want to start being a quality and showing people that you have a certain type of je ne sais quoi about yourself, a certain type of quality, people have to understand that you have to invest in yourself. And it's okay. Don't let people say, man, just make it, bro. And people be liking it raw. And people do like, raw, unfiltered, uncut, because it's so relatable. You know what I mean? It's so relatable. But at the same time, you do have to grow. The reality is that if you're giving out great content, if you're giving out great information, everything that you're teaching, everything that you're showing, your audience should be growing with you. So no matter how much they may miss certain things, they see the growth. They start to understand things as well. Ooh, excuse me. But that's also a major thing. So like I said, when you have a good piece of water right there. You guys got to watch the movie Talk to Me. P.D. Green was one of my favorite characters. But in order to get better, you have to understand that in order for that anxiety to die back, when you're in that marketing phase and, okay, I want to show up. I want to show people who I am. You have to start investing in yourself. You have to be very solution oriented. So when you are ready to present and show the world who you are, that anxiety is not going to pop up. That mental, you're worried about things. No. You're going to show up 100% you, and this goes into the next point, which was the manifesting part, is saying if you're not mentally grounded, you can't spiritually align. Now, all the points pretty much tied to the same thing. Like I said, when you want to manifest something, you have to be in alignment with it. You have to have the conviction that it's going to work. No matter what I do, guess what? It's going to work. Like when I show up ready, baby, it's going to work. There's no other way around it. And like I said, I am aligned with that. Even when I do this podcast, I know it's going to work. People are going to see me as the expert in my field when it comes to branding, photography, videography. And it's not that I'm waiting for their acceptance or approval. I already am that. I'm already spiritually aligned with it. Like, I'm not waiting for y'all to say that I'm the best in the game. I know that I'm the best in the game. It just is what it is. I put the work in. I've practiced. I've done all the physical things, but without the physical things being done, mentally, I'm already there. I'm showing up now. I'm great. I'm relaxed. I'm happy. I'm in my element. I'm in my zone. I'm in my studio. Got my lights. So I am already that guy. the clips and everything that y'all are going to see, this is the aftermath of me already meditating and becoming spiritually aligned with who the hell and who the fuck I say that I am. And if you get offended by cuss words, this may not be for you, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do that for my clients. No. But at the end of the day, this is something to show you all that, hey, listen, you can make anything happen in business, but you have to be in the process or the mindset of, I have to make it, which means I have to create it, show up, even if nobody else sees it. I have to market it. I have to put myself out there. And then how do I manifest it? I manifest it by showing you all that I've already become the person who I say that I'm going to be. I'm not waiting for the riches to act like I'm rich. No, I'm already doing that. What do rich people do? Okay, they don't act a certain type of way when it comes to, I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. So I was listening to Cameron and Mace's podcast, and it was just a clip that came on. Cameron said something in there that was so deep, but it was so simple. And one of my favorite bars, it says, simplicity is life's elegance, or something like that. That's from neuroscience, neuroknowledge. But the quote was, since I have money, I don't move the same. And he was just like, I don't get angry over the things that I used to get angry about when I didn't have anything. Like he said, because there were so many stresses, and he's like, man, now I have an empire. Now it's just like, man, stuff that you get mad at me. Hey, brother, you got it. It's cool. It's not going to hurt me. If you're not doing something to hurt my family, bro, you got it. I could care less, sir. It doesn't bother me. And when you get to that place in life, you'll understand, like I said, money is not necessarily, when the Bible says money answereth all problems, that's what it means. Like sometimes it'll calm you down because you realize now you have something to protect and lose. Now, with that being said, don't wait for the money to come before you start to become the person that you're supposed to be. Be that person already. I want you to really sit back and think, man, if I had the $10 million in my account right now, how would I act? What would I be doing? How would I market myself to people? How would I walk about people? See, the thing is, if you want that confidence of that millionaire, you want that confidence and to be that, you have to already mentally be that, because you can't become something that you aren't. You wonder why people get stuck in the same circles is because like you're still acting like the broke you. You're still acting like the version of you without a business. I had an incident recently where someone who I've been working with, and I started off doing a lot of free work for them, which was great, because I was trying to get my name out there and this, that, and the other. But I also have to kind of get to the point to where I'm like, no, I have business goals that I want to be spiritually aligned with, and I can't keep doing free work. Now, mind you, if the content that we're putting out together is helping me grow, helping you grow, that's fine. But if it's not, or the relationship is not being beneficial, I have to treat this more like a business now. Hey, listen. And it's nothing that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I'm not here for you, but this is a part of growth. And you have to start acting like that person that you're supposed to be. You can't run and do everything for free. Trust me, I understand. I've done so many shoots for free while I was building and, this, that, and the other. And that's cool. And I still do some free work from here from time to time. And sometimes it's just for me to keep my word. Sometimes it's just for me to practice. But the reality is this is a business. Every time I turn that camera on, I have to respect the fact that the body of this camera is $2,000 to $3,000. That the lens that I'm putting on it is $1,600-$1,700. That the lights that I have to turn on are $500-$700. That the stands are like, this is not something that's cheap. This is a business. And in order for me to manifest business the way that I want it to, I have to already be that business owner. You have to be smart. You have to get into that zone where people say, fake it till you make it. I think people really misconstrued that. Like, it's not for you to be outside trying to impress people like, oh, yeah, I got a diamond watch on, so on and so forth. Sometimes it's just for you. Sometimes you may have to put that Folex on and walk around the house. You know what I mean? Because you're showing you that I'm ready for this. Sometimes you have to sit down and say, hey, okay, cool. This is the type of life I want to have. I've written it out. I want to manifest this. Okay, cool. So let me start writing these checks to pay off my mom's house. Let me start writing these checks to do, like, you have to already be that person. You have to start showing the universe that I'm in alignment with this. So go ahead and send it my way. There's no distance or space between me and my goals and reality. I'm already here. Now, I may not physically have the money at this moment, but it's already there. It's coming. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to create that reality around you. And it's so important, especially when it comes to business. You want to be a business owner? You want to be someone who's an entrepreneur, who's free and a lot less stress? Then you have to start being that person, and that's why we go back to the hustling backwards. You want to make sure that you're not hustling backwards, because mentally that's going to stress you out even more. You want to make sure, okay, listen, I've learned a few things. I have some systems in place. I have a mentor. People are teaching me how to run this business efficiently, to the point to where I really don't even have to run my business. These are the things that you have to think about when you're in the manifesting stage, and you want to make sure that you're spiritually aligned. So now, how do we get to this place? I'm going back to my notes real quick. So we get to this place from doing a couple of things. Number one, you have to understand the importance of therapy. Get you a therapist. Okay. Now, mind you, everybody's like, I don't need a therapist. Sometimes it's not necessarily for you to fix some problem that you had in the past. We're not talking about that. Sometimes it's just for you to talk and vent things out and get a different perspective from a person who is not necessarily in your circle, and they can see things from a different perspective, So it's always good to have that journaling, journal, write some stuff down, because if you're keeping the, how do I say this? If you're keeping records of things that you've thought, things that you wanted to do, it's easier to see it. You know what I mean? It's almost like a vision board. Like, hey, okay, these are the 5 things I said I want to do for these next 3 months. Did I do them? Okay, let me map out how to do it. You know what? I'm not really good at mapping things out. Let me go to ChatGPT. Hey, Chat, these are the 5 things I want to do for my business, and blah, 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 so on and so forth, boom, boom, boom. And then when I do that, by journaling it, putting it on a schedule, it starts to make more sense to me. And now I have daily moves that I have to make, or weekly moves that I have to make. And now I have times where I have to call the people to help me out with this and schedule that and put my money towards. You see what I'm saying? So now it's not necessarily just all jumbled up in your head. So journaling and scheduling things makes things super easy, because you can see them and it's physically written out. Meditation. Whew. Meditation is a lifesaver. One of the things when we were kids, they used to always talk about when we were daydreaming. Oh, he's a daydreamer. Man, listen, if you talk about, from a aspect of metaphysics, meditation is one of the things that actually helps you manifest, because you see yourself doing the things, or sometimes it's just to calm your mind. And by calming your mind, you're helping get rid of that brain fog, that anxiety, breath work. You're breathing, you're taking that moment, just taking that moment to be in silence, to be where you need to be all those things that you need to be in that moment. And these things are like so important. Even me just taking that second, it's just like, man, let me be present. Let me be in this moment. It helps. It calms the anxiety. It calms the brain fog. It calms the, no. Meditation is so important. I recommend, honestly, meditating twice a day, 10, 15 minutes. My first meditation in the morning when I get up is just gratitude. I don't take anything for granted. Hey, I'm so thankful for everything that I have, whether it be my cameras, my kids' health, or, the people in my lives, mom, dad, whoever, man, just so grateful for them. So grateful for the journey. I'm not wanting anything. I already have it. Everything's coming that I want. And just taking that moment to be grateful for 10, 15 minutes, just walk around. Be grateful while you're in the morning, just cutting an apple up or juicing. Man, those things, just taking that moment, man, it's just it's so good for you. And it's so powerful. It's so fucking powerful. Whew, man. Just talking to your friends too, talking to yourself. Don't ever get it twisted, because, a lot of people, whatever religious background that you come from, understanding that, the universe or God is within you. So having that conversation with yourself is powerful as well. And yes, you can answer yourself back. Don't be rude. Talk to yourself. People be so rude, be like, if you talk to yourself, it's okay. But if you start answering, no, talk to yourself, answer back. You know what? What do I need to do today? All right, Marcus, well, you need to get this done. You need to get this done. You need to get this done. It's okay to answer that back. You're responding to the God within, because the reality is, in order to create, you have to understand that you are a creator and you come from a divine creation. But we'll get deeper into that later time, later date. Whew, that's a bar. I wrote down a bar too. It says, the mind is the motherboard, and if it crashes, nothing runs right. Not your business, not your brand, and not your body. The mind is the motherboard. This runs everything. And if it's not right, everything else is off. So take care of yourself. I made a video about this the other day. I was like, man, as an entrepreneur, I've been so busy doing so many things that I forgot to take care of my damn self. So now just working out and getting on my bike and making sure I get up and meditate, like, man, shit, do that for a week and watch how you're like, you know what? Cool. Man, cleaning up my house. Oh my God. Just doing that deep clean. Just that once, it's like, and now I'm keeping everything up. It's just like, oh, this is so much less work. Jesus, so much less work. I don't have to do 3 weeks of laundry. Like when I go home, I have 1.5 loads sitting on in the hamper. I gotta go get it. I'm gonna do it as soon as I get home, and that's all my laundry for the week. I'm done. I ain't gotta do no more. It's literally sitting there. Why? Because I've been staying on top of it. You know what I mean? So when you do the big work, you can do a lot of more light work afterwards. So let's get back to it. It was cold in my studio. That's why I had my hoodie on. And now my sinuses are draining. Woo. And this kind of leads me to something I've been talking about. The power of environment. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Having a tidy space makes a world of difference. One of the things about being in, photography, videography, I have so much damn equipment. It's ridiculous. You have to think about it. Just me shooting this podcast, I can name at least 10 or 15 pieces of equipment. I have a TV over there. I have a laptop over there. I have a video switcher. I have a audio plug, a whole bunch of wires, the microphone stand, the seat, the tripod, the table that is just, man, it's so much stuff just to make this. And we're not talking about the lights over here. You see the lights right here, the sign behind me, the light coming above my head. It's a lot of equipment. And the reality is, if I don't keep these things tidy, it's hell. And it's hard to think when you have just a lot of clutter around you. It actually makes you anxious, and to the point to where it's just like you end up doing more spot cleaning. All right, let me just straighten this up, and not creating. You have to get to a point to where you've cleaned up and done such a deep cleaning that now spot cleaning is only 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes at the most. I always tell people, hey, 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day, you should be cleaning. Set that time aside. Just go ahead and clean. Turn your show on and turn your music on and just start cleaning up. And if you've done the deep clean, it shouldn't take you long. You should be able to knock out 3-4 rooms within that time. Like if you don't pee everywhere, okay, cool. How long does it take to really wipe down a toilet? No time. Go into the bathroom, all right, spray a little bleach, a little whatever, wipe it down real quick with the toilet brush, wipe it down, boom, boom, boom. Bleach wipe down my sink, boom. That's 5-6 minutes. Let me go vacuum the living room. All right, let me vacuum my office. Let me put the stuff back that I was supposed to do yesterday. My laundry's already done for the week. You see what I'm saying? Like that 30-40 minutes, you can knock out the whole house. Why? Because you've done a deep clean. Like if you do the big thing first, you can do a lot more light work and a lot of light cleaning. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't take that long. And you've got 30 or 40 minutes a day. Why? Because you set yourself up in a system. And these are certain things that are super important. So making sure that you keep your space tidy is super, super important. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about having a clean space, it uplifts you. It really does. It makes you feel good. Like I love having a clean space because it feels like I'm coming home to a hotel. Like one of the best parts about going to a hotel was just like, The beds are already made. Floors are already like everything is already done. Doing that before I leave the house, oh my God, it feels so good. Like even just like, let me put this carpet freshener down real quick, or let me just spray and light, make sure my plug-ins are, because I want to come home. I was like, man, it's so nice in here. Like you want your house to be your place of meditation. And the same thing is about your business too. Like, man, don't be letting your business get all cluttered and shit. Man, I've worked for some people and I hated it because like everything was so fucking out of order. Everything was just so, all over the damn place and scattered. It's just like, ugh. I was cleaning for a business at one point. I'm like, bro, how the fuck do y'all even work in this? Like, it's dusty as shit in here. And mind you, we would come and clean up every day. And I understand they were in an industrial type of business, but like, damn, like keep this shit clean, man. Keep your area clean. And it makes for a better work environment for you. So like take that 30 to 45 minutes every day. Make your bed. Make your bed. I promise you. Just making your bed makes you feel so good when you wash your ass and you get in it later on in the afternoon. So, man, being tidy and power of environment is really, really crucial to mental health as well. Man, I'm actually going through this a lot faster than I thought I would. So, what's my timing on this right now? Man, 41 minutes. Ain't too bad. I've been talking. But man, I hope y'all been getting a lot of information out of this. Ain't no hope. I know y'all getting a lot of good little nuggets out of this. Let's go into this. This is one of my favorite ones, and this is control what you can control. There are going to be so many things, especially when it comes to your mental health, that you cannot control. And the reality is that you don't need to spend a lot of time trying to make those things work. You know what I mean? Just like, control what you can control. And a lot of times those things would be like your attitude. I'm reading them off because I got my notes right here. Your attitude, your schedule, your space, and your energy. These are the things that you can definitely control. So I'm reading a book right now called Outsmarting Reality by Neuro Knowledge. It's a gentleman on YouTube. Shout out to the brother Neuro Knowledge. Very beautiful man, beautiful mind, brilliant mind. And man, he spends a lot of time talking about, not emotionally responding to everything, because where your emotions go and where the energy is with that shows you how you're going to manifest certain things. And a lot of times we end up manifesting things that we don't want because we put so much of our energy behind the things that we don't want. Perfect example. So let's talk about it from a relationship standpoint. If you're dating, but your mindset is, ain't no good men out here, ain't no good women out here, or all the women on some gold digging stuff, or they hoes, and all the dudes want to do is fuck. And guess what? Because of the type of energy and the energetic connection that you put behind that, you're going to keep attracting that. Now, if you come in with the right mindset, and I'm not saying faking it, like, oh, maybe I don't believe that. Like, no, like genuinely, like, man, look, I know that there's someone for me that ain't going to be on no bullshit like that. So I'm not worried about what all the other women are doing or what all the other men are doing. I'm not in that space. And this is one of the things that you have to understand. You can't operate from the reality that everybody else operates from, because that's not your reality. You have to create your own reality. And what I mean is, like I said, if you want a good person, we're not talking about financial things outside of, a good person, then you have to, number one, be a good person. You don't even necessarily have to be that, because that's not how manifestation works. But what you want to be, or what you want to have, you have to already see it having it for you. So the same thing goes in your business. Like you're going to have a bad customer, but that doesn't mean anything. Like if I say, man, I keep getting these type of customers, that energy, that emotion that you put behind it, because where your emotions go is where your energy is, and what your energy is what you're going to manifest. You're going to keep getting it. I had to change my emotional connection to some of the shit that I was saying. Man, Detroit is a city where, it's so hard to do this, because I was getting so much business outside of Detroit. I changed that. No, there are opportunities everywhere, and there are a million of them here. There are a million business owners in the state of Michigan. Well, you think, and I'm in one of the major cities in the United States. You think I'm not going to have major corporations reaching out to me? You crazy as hell. Okay. Listen, I'm at this point now, I understand that because the emotion and the energy that I put behind it, that's what I was manifesting. I was manifesting always having to go out of town because I believe that, oh, well, there's no work. Man, there's work everywhere. There are people who want me just because I'm me. It don't necessarily mean that I've done something so great, but because of who I am and the energy that I bring and the fact that everything that I do when it comes to my business, I make it an experience. I let my nuts hang. You know what I mean? Man, listen, your experience is not going to equal to mine. This is why I know that I differ. I learned that when I was a musician, not when I was a musician. I learned that as a musician, because I come from a family of a background where everybody's a musician. Everyone can sing. I have an auntie that can sing you under the ground. My auntie Pam, beautiful voice. My grandmother can sing. My mom can sing. Now my daughter, my son, geez, the beautiful voices. Their mom, beautiful. Like everybody around me had a beautiful voice. But what was the difference with me? And I learned to be in my lane so much that, man, I don't have to try to be, man, I just want to make it feel good. I want to make everybody smile. I want everybody grooving. Like those are the things that I focused on. And then when I started focusing on that, man, it was just like, ooh, the experience. People love coming to the show because when I come off the stage and I talk to everybody and I shake everybody's hand, I make them feel a part of it. And it's the same thing in business. My music is a business. This is a business. So please understand that, the emotion that I put behind it is like, man, people want me for me because I bring something different than what everybody else brings. And that's okay. There are singers out here like, man, they have such a beautiful voice, but why ain't they signed? What is it about them? Because sometimes they may not have the presence that brings everyone. We can laugh and joke about, someone like Keisha Cole or Ashanti for not being the Aretha Franklin, but man, they had hits. Or they go around stage, or they like whatever it may be. It's something special about them that made them stand out. And you have to find that about you. And these are the things that you can control, which is, like I said, this helps with your mental health. Like, man, where do I put my energy? Where do I put my attitude? What do I think about myself? What do I think about my business? These are the things that I can control. There are always going to be outside sources. I'm speaking from the heart on this one. There are going to always be outside sources and things that are going to tell you you can't But if you accept that as your reality, then that's what you're going to have. When negative thoughts come in my mind, I'm conscious of them. You know what? That's not my reality. What is your reality? The reality is me sitting in front of this camera telling you what my reality is going to be. Why? Because I'm already that. This is like when you start talking about your manifesting and you're making and you're marketing it. So when it comes to business, when a bad customer comes in, you can control that attitude. You smile it off. Hey, listen, look, and sometimes it's okay to say, hey, you're not my type of clientele. Woo, that'll make people straighten up all the time. Like, so like when you tell people your prices, oh man, can you do that? Oh, no. My price is my price. But hey, I appreciate you for looking me up, and mind you, you're going to always be in a negotiation. But sometimes when you know that your price is solid, like, hey, listen, you know what? I've done the market research. I know that I'm worth this and I can't settle for less than this. Why? Because of this. Now, mind you, if opportunities come along, sometimes you want to take them, but sometimes you don't need them. Why? Because that's just not your clientele. These are not the people that you want to be around. They're not yours. I've told somebody that before. Hey, listen, you know what? Honestly, this is my price, and I appreciate you for looking me up. There may be a few other people that I might recommend, that you might want to take a look at, or I can find this cheaper. That's fine. Go ahead, go with them. Like I said, I have a particular type of clientele, and people start to look at you differently. Please understand, I'm not Walmart. I'm Gucci. I'm Hermes. Like, my work is pristine. Okay. I don't do this part-time. I do this. Okay. And I'm okay with that. And it's just like people feel like you may have lost a client. I didn't. And a lot of times people, when they hear that, well, wait a minute. No, I'm not. No. Listen, these are my prices. And like I said, if you want to sit down and have a consultation, cool. My consultations cost this much, because time, I'm not going to say time is money, but time is valuable. And my time is valuable. So in order to have it, you have to invest in my time. And see, by me controlling what I can control, sometimes I end up controlling other things. I even manifest the conversations with my clients. I've told somebody that and they're just like, wait, okay, all right, man, I mean, your price is a little expensive. I said, but hey, listen, look at what you're getting. Like, when you sit down, like, let's have a consultation. Let's talk about, like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? Like, I'm not just taking pictures of you. I want to help you get what's known as an ROI, which is a return on your investment. That's what I'm here for. I'm not just here to take your damn pictures and sit. No. Let's talk about your vision. Let's talk about, because it may be something that one little thing that I've learned that may help you. Oh, damn, I need to do this. Or, you know what? You might want to change your color scheme. I'll tell you why. This is, and like talk of things from a psychological standpoint, talk from things from a business standpoint, teaching people how to not necessarily, sometimes not trying to recreate the wheel. Or if they are recreating the wheel, let's not half-ass it. Let's recreate it, do something so great that people have to catch on to it. But these are the things that come from being able to control you and your environment and the things that you can. But man, we went through a lot today. This is a bar I wrote. You can't command your kingdom if you can't command your mornings. And which means that, like I said, if you don't start your day off the right way, if you don't start or have your day ready for you to succeed, it's going to be hard for you to command another kingdom. That's a bar right there. Write that down. So just kind of wrapping up. We've been going now for a total of 51 minutes. Proud of it. We've been talking. You want to make sure that you're prioritizing your mental health. So make sure you're journaling, make sure you're talking to a therapist, making sure you're meditating, you're watching what you eat, get into juicing, things like that. Get into walking and working out more. Like, doing those things is really, really crucial to your mental health. Especially as men. Now, mind you, like I said this episode is for everybody, but I do want to focus on men because it is Men's Mental Health Month. And the reason why I want to be very, very adamant about it is because, we've been taught a lot of toxic things as men, how we're supposed to behave, how, just grind it, keep it down. We're entering into a new era and understanding that life and longevity is what we're here for, but not just life to pay bills, but life to actually live. You know what I mean? Like, getting out, breaking that cycle of, man, just working and just getting by. Like, I was talking to my friend earlier today and just kind of telling him, I'm like, man, you're not living right now. You're not. And he hates corporate. I hated corporate. That's why I had to leave. I was happy to leave. I want to live. I don't want to just be out here tied up. And let me change that up, because I'm being very meticulous about the words that I say. I don't want to live. I am living. I am in that space of, living in beauty, traveling and being around my family and being able to be there for my family and showing up mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, everything. I'm already those things. And you need to prioritize your mental health in order to get there. And take the steps. It may start with you just journaling, finding a counselor. If you're a spiritual person, go to your pastor or, a licensed therapist, whatever it may be. Just start the journey of taking care of yourself. I really want to stress how super important that is. I want to stress to you all how important it is to love on yourself throughout this journey, because being an entrepreneur is more than just about money. It's more than just about creating products, visuals, and all this. It's also about the freedom that you desire from being entangled from building someone else's vision, but building your own. And that's the beauty of life. Man, I had fun today. I really did. At this hour just flew by. If you guys are in the Michigan area or in need of a branding photographer, y'all know to hit me up. My website is Lens Almighty, LenSalmighty.com. Yeah. My IG, Mask Media Branding, MaskMedia Branding, Branding. You'll see a guy with the sunglasses on, the cool camera. Yeah. This was today was a vibe. Today was a real damn vibe. But love y'all. Peace out.